welcome to the Artist Behind the Music Canadian edition. Today we have the band Focus Your Audio joining us from Vancouver. Welcome, guys.
Hey.
Hi. Thanks for joining on the show. Well, I'm excited to hear about your story and how you guys got started. So why don't we just kind of go into how you started as a band and decided to play music together?
Well, Bobby had a rock band that was doing really well, and he was pretty busy with that. But he had a lot of softer music kind of on the side that he just wasn't suitable for his other band. So he said to me, Sarah, why don't we get together and start doing some writing? So I was like, awesome, because what he was creating was very much in my wheelhouse. So we just started kind of a side project of doing softer music while he was doing kind of the rock thing. And it really just kind of flourished into now our full-time music endeavor. So yeah.
That's so cool. And how did you decide on the name? I always find this interesting. Picking a band name is like picking a child's name.
Right. Right. It was, there was so much like band names that were already taken. Like we went through 20 that were already taken. We're like, and so
like this one's original. Oh, it's taken.
Yeah. And so we wanted to, Jack White came out with a band or an album called Boarding House Reach. And I was like, oh, that's a kind of a weird name. And so I looked it up to see what it meant. And it's like an old slang term for reaching across the table rudely. And so I was like, oh, that's really cool. Well, maybe we should, find a band name that has like a cool old meaning to it. And so I started researching that, and Focus Your Audio is slang for to listen intently.
I like that.
Yeah. And so that's why, because we very much are storytellers, and we want to, have people, resonate with our lyrics and connect with our lyrics. And so we thought that was the perfect name.
Yeah, no, that is perfect. And that's what music is all about, right? We create it for it to be listened to intently. So
absolutely, yeah.
Good call. Good call. And how long have you guys been making music together now for then?
Oh, maybe 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years. Yeah.
Nice. It's crazy how time just disappears, right?
Oh. Past year feels like it's been like 5 years. So I had to like take a moment and be like, wait a minute, because we're actually coming up on our first year anniversary of releasing our self-titled EP. We released it last December, and honestly, it feels like it was like 6 years ago. It doesn't feel like 1 year ago.
Yeah. I hear ya. I released an album or an EP last September too, and I feel like that was like a decade ago.
So happened since then.
I know. So how has your 2020 been? What, kind of ups and downs did you push through and move through, and how did you kind of cope through the crazy shifts and changes of the world?
Yeah, for me, because I'm a nurse full time, so I never stopped and went through that whole, springtime where everybody was kind of, in lockdown and at home, and I was still, going out and nursing, and, kids were home, nobody was at school, so they were kind of losing their minds. Bobby was able to keep working. So for us, day to day was, different because of everything that's going on in the world, but we were able to keep some kind of normalcy to our routine. Creatively, we've been really busy writing, and we did go into the studio COVID friendly, did the whole thing to kind of, that's where the writing just kept happening. And we were like, you know what, it's time to just go back into the studio again and record over there, which you guys will hear today. And we have another song that'll be coming out in the new year. So yeah, creatively we were writing and then recording, and then all of the stuff that goes with that. So that's been a good distraction, I think, in some of this as well, keeping us busy on the weekends. And because we live together and we're partners in life, we didn't have to go through that period where we didn't have to see each other. We were just here, being creative and drinking coffee and doing our normal life.
Totally. No, I get that. It's a lucky thing to be able to do music with your partner. I do music with Darren, my other half, as well. And it's just, it's nice because we were still able to do our live stream shows, and we can play together and still keep music very normal, if you will.
You can the dog is like between us right now, running back and forth with getting any way that he can find. So every once in a while I see a ball go woo over her head.
Just want some love. That's all anyone wants in the world, right? How do you guys find your inspiration when you're co-writing? Do you come together with a topic in mind? Do you each kind of, have different ideas and bring them to the table, or what's your process usually look like?
Usually I'm messing around on the guitar, and Sarah hears something from across the room. It's like, oh, that's great. Voice memo that and send it to me. And, so most of the time it's like when we write together, but like the first initial idea is sometimes like the music's on the guitar already, and then Sarah listens to it and starts coming up with lyrics and melodies and stuff like that.
I always come up with a melody first. Like, so Bobby very much will just be jamming and come up with some, musical pieces, and then he'll give them to me, and then I come up with, the vocal melody. And then from there, I end up writing the lyrics. So sometimes we write them together. Usually our process is that I'm writing the lyrics, but we will come together and decide whether it's something that we like, we feel, or, it's the right vibe. So yeah.
There's your third wheels right there.
It's like grabbing my sleeve. Hey, pay attention to me.
So cute. And how do you guys find working together and being in a relationship? Do you find struggles with that, or do you find it's just, find a new way to work together? Is it different than working with someone you're not in a relationship with?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, and I think sometimes, so for us, because we're very different and we come at music very differently.
Yeah.
So he might have an idea about something that I totally am not hearing or don't vibe with. And so we've learned that he kind of has what he brings to the song, and then I do my part to the song. And then we kind of very much have our roles in that, because, some things that I write, he'd look at me and go, what do you mean? What does that mean? Well, this is what I mean. Like, we just come, from two different, angles. And then when we get into the studio, we often let the producer kind of help us navigate some of those areas where Bobby might hear something or I'm hearing something, and it kind of, gels together that way. We've had a few of those where we're like, well, let Mike help us figure that part out. Or we'll just put pause on that and be like, yeah, we'll let, Sheldon decide.
That's a really good idea, actually, when like you're working with somebody, relationship or not. It's just, if you're not coming to the same picture and you do have someone else you can bounce it off of, so maybe they can see a different perspective that you both can understand.
Yeah, the outside party is always really great to have, because as as an artist as well, there's times where you get married to what you're doing, and you're like, I really like that idea and I'm not letting this go. And sometimes it takes somebody else other than your partner to go, oh, that's terrible. No, get rid of that. Or, yeah, that's great, or whatever. So yeah, it's always nice to have that third party that's non-biased about the song and tell you truthfully whether it's going to work or not.
Yeah.
I will sometimes, like, if we listen back to the mixes or to the masters, I might hear something that Bobby's not hearing. And I think we've learned over this process to let the other person have their voice, vocalize what they think and feel to, the people that are working on it, and not kibosh them, just, kibosh each other just because we're partners, and be like, I don't hear that. How do you hear that?
Totally.
Because it's both of our art and both of our expressions, and we hear things differently. And it doesn't mean I'm wrong. It doesn't mean he's wrong. So we've learned that, like, when we go into the car and we put it on the car radio and we listen back to it, we're like, yeah, this is great. Or I hear this or that. And we've figured out how to navigate that.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to figure out how to do, because otherwise it can get like, this is my way, this is my way. And who wants to live in that phase, right? I mean, love shouldn't be like that. Music shouldn't be like that. So it's definitely all about navigating new ways of understanding the person, right? And just understanding yourself, I think, is a huge part of it. So you guys released a new single during COVID year time. How did you find releasing music in that space was in comparison to other years?
Well, almost the same, other than you can't tour it.
Yeah.
So like, all your PR and all that kind of stuff can pretty much, it's pretty much the same, all, your social medias and all that kind of stuff. The only thing you can't do is just go out and play it in front of people. And and see the people face to face and see their reactions. And getting on the road is always great, and we love to play in front of people, and that's just been the weird thing, is we just haven't been able to do that. So yeah, we've been just talking about it even the last couple of days, just like, oh, we miss going out and playing, so
Yeah.
But the social media part, I think we've increased, like, since, because we're not being able to go out and play, our online presence has had to be like just that much more conscious of it. So as weird as that piece of it is, and promoting yourself that way, which I struggle with a little bit just because it feels so strange and so foreign, we've had to up that, I think, just because people, you're not seeing people out and about, at venues and, connect with people in person anymore. So there has to be a lot more, online presence. And that's been a weird thing, I would say, for sure, just navigating that a bit.
For sure. And social media is an interesting beast. Like, it's so great and so beneficial, but then if it's not your forte to be, sharing everything that you're doing throughout your day, then it's really hard, right? It's hard to be like, well, what do I post if I'm not posting like what I'm eating? Or especially at times where like maybe, people aren't working or their lives have slowed down being at home. It's like, well, here I am again, drinking my coffee. Like,
right?
Yeah.
Here I am cooking chicken.
Again. See you tomorrow.
I know, it's so weird.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, but I'm so grateful that we have social media and ways that we can connect. Even things like this, being able to connect with other artists, bands, people, just in general, collaborative ways online. It's just really increased, I think, a lot this year, because we're all having to find new ways to navigate and how to connect, right? So
absolutely, yeah. Stay creative. Make sure we don't get into this rut where once this COVID thing's over, everything wakes up and we're all like, uh-oh.
Lethargy become the new norm.
Seriously, I wonder that often about myself. I'm like, ooh, what am I going to be like when I have to leave my house? Like, because I just work from home, so I never have to leave to do anything. Like, I get my groceries delivered. I just don't leave.
Which I love. I would say that was a big takeaway for us too. We're just like, okay, we can do a lot more online than we did before.
Yeah.
Business, which we are, but it's just one of those things where everything's just shifted and changed so much. It's just such an interesting parallel now. Yeah,
it definitely is. I'll be curious to see kind of moving forward how the world shifts and changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you guys draw most of your inspiration from? Do you find it's personal things or other people's stories, things you watch in movies?
Definitely, for me, writing is definitely a very personal thing. So I do tend to draw a lot from personal experience, and things that move me. But I love just listening to people's stories and what they're going through and real life experiences. I'll often write about that as well. So not just something that I've gone through, but something that I can relate to or has touched me in a way that I feel like, that inspires me to put some words down and sing about it. So writing has always been a very personal expression that way, and very, very much about people and our struggles. I tend to write a lot of those struggles, and I think to myself, can I not just write a happy song? But you know what? It just, whatever comes out, like, it's just the way it is. It's the way of processing.
Well, it's like Dallas Green from City and Color says, it's easier to write a sad song than it is a happy song, right?
It is. I totally agree with that. But there's something that feels so good about feeling sad sometimes, right? It's just connecting with that emotion that we don't often talk about, the sad stuff in life, right? Like when you're talking to a friend or a stranger, you're not talking about, oh, this really sad thing happened. You're usually saying, oh, things are great, blah, 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 for the most part, right? We kind of mask those sadness and the anger and the fear and with a smile a lot of times, I find. So there's something really beautiful about sad songs, because I think that's just raw and real, and the mask is taken away and we're just exposing that vulnerability, which I think is so important.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
true.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
people they connect with it. It's just one of those things where we have happy moments, but then those moments that are, that we take to ourselves are often, I find, the music that I listen to. I want to be moved by what it is I'm hearing, and I'm kind of a sucker that way. But yeah, I think most people are like that.
I hear ya. Do you guys have any specific influences that influence your project, or just you as musicians in general?
Yeah, I think so. I think we draw from, artists just like any other artists do. There's artists that inspire us. There's
Well, we both have very different tastes, so
true.
we fit in this weird genre bending sound we've got going on, because anytime, any moment, we can be writing a song that sounds completely different than what we've put out before, and we go to, should we even be doing this? But we've kind of learned just to go with the flow. For me, I grew up with the Beatles and Neil Young, and I love Tori Amos, and I love a good piano song. Give it to me all day long.
And me, I'm a sucker for old Black Keys and the White Stripes, stuff that's like really dirty bluesy stuff. And but I'm also I would love the softer side. I love John Bryant, who's a Vancouver guy. We love listening to him. We're just we don't like to admit this, but we're just in love with Taylor Swift's new album.
Oh no, we love it. Yeah.
So good.
It's so well written, and yeah,
but if you ask what we have playing while we're cooking, it's usually 80s on 8.
Yeah.
80s.
That's true.
That's usually what we're listening to.
True.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
That's awesome. 80s music is great. 80s and 90s. Just love it.
Sure.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, on that note, I'd love to hear you guys play if you're ready to rock for us.
All right, we'll do that.
So we'll start with maybe Over There. So this was our newest single that we released. Had a heck of a great time recording this with Mike Young here in Vancouver at Hipposonic, and it came out November 6th, so you can actually get it on all the streaming platforms. And we wrote it about actually us in COVID times. We had a massive fight, which we don't really like to admit because we really don't fight often. No. But we do.
Real life.
Real life.
You're human.
Yeah, totally.
It happens.
It's a song about letting love win, because at the end of the day, regardless if you have your stance in something, you're still wondering how the person is that you love is doing over there while you're over here processing your own situation. So for us, this song, we wrote this shortly after that, and it just is what it is. So it's called Over There.
Nice.
We didn't see the clouds coming straight our way, bringing a rain that loosens all the stems in its way. We let in silence for days, no contest. We let it shout with tear our scenes to shreds. How are you over there? When I'm over here, I've been chasing you away, but you've been doing just the same. Now we're caught out here in this rain, hoping it all just washes away. Can't we just let this whole go? Take that trip down to Mexico. Let this dry out under the sun until we forget what we've just done. There wasn't much more that we could really say. Too much time was spent crafting our silent escapes. How are you over there? When I'm over doing just the same. Now we're caught out here in this rain, hoping it all just washes away. Can't we just let this whole go? Take that trip down to Mexico. Let this dry out under the sun till we forget what we've just done. How are you over there? When I'm over here, I've been chasing you away, but you've been doing just the same. Now we're caught out here in this rain, hoping it all just washes away. Can't we just let this whole go? Take that trip down to Mexico. Let this dry out under the sun till we forget what we've just done. How are you over there? When I'm over here.
I was so into that. I just wanted it to keep going. I felt like I was back living in Vancouver and it was raining and I was just like sipping a glass of wine.
Yeah, the rain.
That's awesome. I really love your sound. You know, I could just hear your voice like in Lilith Fair. Like that's
awesome. Thank you.
yeah, and just like great vibe. I really love it.
Thank you
so
very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll come see you when you play live next, when that day is.
Well, that's the first time we've played this song, is it not? I don't think we've played this song for anybody else before.
Well, that's amazing. I'm honored that it happened here on The Artist Behind the Music.
Yeah.
That's so great. All right, well, what else you guys got for us?
Oh, well, we can...
do you want to do Shades or do you want to do On Your Own?
Oh, let's do Shades.
Okay.
Shades is out. So Shades was our last, our previous release just before Over There. It came out in, when did we release that? June? I think it was in June of this past summer. And again, the producer was Mike Young, who we've just grown to just love him to death. And so I think sometimes when you find somebody who you just mesh with so well, you tend to continue to just work with them and just, yeah, and he pushes us like there's no tomorrow, which I love. So this song is called Shades, written kind of about owning your own decision making. You know, sometimes some things aren't healthy for you and you literally need to burn them down and fan the flames. Sometimes it's just like burn, you can just burn. And then letting the regrowth come from that, letting everything settle and then just letting yourself grow again. And so this song is very personal to me, and both to Bobby. This is actually our very first song that we ever wrote together, but one of the later ones that we recorded just wasn't the right time to record it. And so when we found Mike, it all kind of came together and we recorded it and released it. So you can listen to this everywhere. And hope you enjoy it. It's so dry inside, running round, stoking all those fires, and I watch that house burn to the ground, and I lit the match and that took it down. I come from a million ways. I come from shades away. I'll make you close your eyes. I'll take yours, then I'll take mine. It was all brand new. Shiny walls and glass, couldn't help but stare straight through. And I piled those chairs and just to kick them all down. And I punched those walls in where it burned from the inside out. I come from a million ways. I come from shades away. I'll make you close your eyes. I'll take yours, then I'll take mine. I didn't know how far I would go, and I didn't know you'd be left there to hold this crazy in my mind. It's chaos most of the time. And you didn't know how far you would go, and you didn't know if I'd be left there to hold this crazy in your mind. It's too hot to stand beside. I come from a million ways. I come from shades away. I'll make you close your eyes. I'll take yours, then I'll take mine. I'll take yours, then I'll take mine.
Beautiful. I really love just listening and watching you guys play. So I would like a whole concert, please. Let me go get a glass of wine, though.
I love that.
That's fantastic. That's a great compliment.
This is so good. Who would you say people compare you to?
Well, people have been
And
comparing.
this feels kind of tacky because everything that's been going on with TikTok and everything else seems
Right,
strange.
but they're saying, you know, people are comparing us to like Lady Antebellum or Lady A and mixed with Fleetwood Mac.
Which we were like, the Fleetwood Mac, like super surprised by. We were like, really? But this did come before the whole TikTok thing and everything. Drinking like juice.
Yeah, juice on a skateboard.
Yeah,
Right,
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
And are you guys on TikTok?
We
are,
are,
but we never use it.
We're not really good at that.
I dare you tonight. Make
do
a
a
TikTok video.
Okay, let's do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. Are you on TikTok?
I am. You can tag me if you want. I'll share it. But it's a slow growth TikTok for me. I'm more of an Instagram user. But yeah, TikTok it's a slow growth.
Yeah, its own beast. I don't really know how to use the whole thing, so I'm kind of like, although our dog, Bobby does have TikTok and uses our dog a lot and makes all these crazy like ninja.
See, people love that stuff.
So apart from that, we're just
put this song up there. That'd be beautiful.
We should.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. You guys, it's been so nice chatting with you, hearing more of your story. You brought me into the Vancouver world today, so I appreciated it because I miss it there so much.
Well, next time you're here, by all means, come hang out. We'll have a glass of wine. We'll play some music.
Oh,
hopefully
perfect.
hang out and it's not so restricted.
Right. I know. Coming soon to a world near you. I always love to finish off these conversations, though, asking the question, if you had one message to share with the world, what would it be? And you can each answer. It doesn't have to be collective.
One message, what would it, you know what? I'm a big kindness freak. I'm one of those people where it's just, Just know your neighbor, get to know the people around you, take care of one another, because I think that people can be, especially with social media, can be so cruel. And so do things that you would never do face to face with somebody, or say things that you would just never say to somebody in real life. And so I always want to remind people that we're human, and, to treat each other in a way that uplifts one another and encourages each other, especially in times like these where people's mental health are so fragile. A lot of people are alone. We're all so isolated. So I would say love and kindness all the way. It sounds very cliche, but I mean, so much gets accomplished when people start opening up their hearts, start being vulnerable with one another, start being real, start baking cookies and taking it to the neighbors, start, shoveling their driveway when they need help, going out of our way to be kind in a world where there's just not enough kindness. And so I would say that for sure.
Well said.
Yeah,
How do you follow that? Hey.
Well, for me, it would be like, stay the course. I know a lot of people are losing hope, and a lot of people are, losing just their minds with this whole thing. And I think my biggest message is, and it's kind of like it might be a downer, but it's like, if you're not, then just reach out to people, and don't be afraid to reach out to people. Don't be afraid to talk about stuff. We as musicians are very fortunate that we can take our problems and put them onto this, share it with people, and it's a huge outlet, but not a lot of people have that. And so, if you don't have an outlet or somebody that you can confide into, don't be afraid to reach out and tell somebody what's going on. So yeah.
That was a great follow-up.
Thank you.
Yeah, great follow-up, because it's so important to talk about what we're feeling and move through this as collectively as we can, not just this moment now in life, but just life in general. We're here to support each other and help each other. And, I'm always, send me a DM. I'll read it. And it's important to reach out and share the message, because you're right. Not everybody can make a sad song.
Right.
So,
exactly.
share your story. It's important.
Yeah.
Well said. Well, guys,
Cool.
It was so nice to have you focus your audio on the artist behind the music. I can't wait to see what you guys come out with next. And until then, keep keeping on.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.